good friend of ours from the Kansas City Star, very talented writer and has covered college sports forever and ever. I think he has a deep down love for college sports, but he also, covers the Royals and the Chiefs there for the Star, and he is actually in Kansas City Chiefs training camp, and that's Blair Kerkhoff, who joins us here for a few minutes. And Blair, good morning. Good to catch up with you.
Yeah, good to catch. Yeah, you too, Robert. It's always good talking to you.
Let's start off with the subject that you're dealing with right now, being up at Chiefs training camp. Again, Chiefs had a tremendous year last year. Patrick Mahomes is the cat's meow, NFL MVP. Couldn't have turned out better as a quarterback drafted by the Chiefs. They've got their franchise guy for really the foreseeable future and can build around him. And I know, came up close, almost went to the Super Bowl. Golly, what a great game to watch with the Patriots in the AFC Championship. And now you start the preseason off with that kind of performance the other night and a ton of buzz. Kansas City's a Chiefs town right now, isn't it?
It is very much so, and you're right. There is a ton of buzz. We're at the second to last day of training camp in St. Joe, up at Missouri Western State University, and they've had record crowds up here. They've had as many as 10,000 here on campus on the weekend days watching training camp. And I've been coming up here for 5 or 6 years now, and I've never seen the interest like it is this year. And it's all because of, as you said, they got to the AFC title game, lost in overtime to the Patriots, probably improved their offense and changed almost their entire defense. And so there's just a lot of anticipation for this team, and there is a kind of a Super Bowl or bust sense about this Chiefs team this year. They seem to have the pieces required to get it done.
And this is a weird question. It really wasn't one I intended to ask, but I was thinking about it as you were talking about the record crowds. The unique thing about the Chiefs is, to me, it's a perfect pro franchise, a lot like the Royals, especially when they've had their good days, for Kansas City. Kansas City's not New York City. It's not L.A. It's not Chicago, and it's never tried to be. It's heart of the Midwest, still a great college city, even though it's a pro town. They still love their college sports there. And because the Chiefs are really a family-run organization, are they not the perfect type franchise for that locale?
They are. For the market size that Kansas City is, this is a team that talks a lot about drafting the right kind of guy, and even if and taking chances on some guys, thinking they can help them if they think that's the way to go. I don't hear that that type of talk with teams in larger markets in New York or LA, but when you live in this part of the country, that's part of the deal. It's more of a personable relationship. That I'm not saying the fans of the Chiefs or of teams in this part of the country are any more passionate than the fans of the Giants or the Rams or anything else. In fact, you see Raiders games and see the passion of those fans. But there's an affection that I think fans have for their teams in our part of the country that maybe doesn't exist, and I think it's just on a more personal level. And I mean that as for the pro teams. I think that the Chiefs fans feel about the Chiefs the way college fans feel about their teams, and that's with a deep, deep passion that that comes from. I think that's kind of unique to the Midwest.
You mentioned taking a chance, and I want to talk about the Cowboys that are on the Chiefs roster, and I really enjoyed Tyreek Hill when he was here. He was a yes sir, no sir guy. I understood he had a very potentially volatile relationship with his girlfriend. That was back here, same girl.
Yeah,
Mike Gundy had warned him, Tyreek, if it gets sideways, you got to run as fast as you can because she can't catch you. You'll be fine. If you just run away from it,
right.
You'll be fine. and he didn't. And Mike Gundy cut him loose, and I know it hurt Mike. He hated to do it because
Yeah.
he just saw a good kid in Tyreek, and then now I know we know what went on in the off season, and this was out of the Chiefs' hands. This was more in the authorities and the NFL's hands, and Tyreek's there. How do you anticipate this thing going forward? And I guess the hope is Tyreek's finally learned stay away and run away.
Yeah, I think we've established that that they're no longer together, even though they've had 3 children together. But he and the girlfriend are not living together, and not, at least, hope for his sake that it remains that way, because nothing good seems to have happened when they were together, including the latest that happened. Started in March with a couple of police calls to their house, and then continued through the county prosecutor holding a press conference to announce that no charges were filed, but he thought a crime had been committed, basically an abuse charge. And so Tyreek Hill did a smart thing. He got an attorney, local attorney, and basically was able to tell his side of the story through this attorney, not through the Chiefs, which had to kind of distance themselves from Tyreek while the investigation was happening, but through an attorney. And that actually changed the narrative and the feeling toward Tyreek a little bit, toward him, for him, when he was able to get out his side of the story through his attorney. And I think there was a kind of a realization among Chiefs fans and the media. By the way, the media didn't do a great job reporting the story. There was just a lot of incomplete information out there. But once the tide started to turn in terms of public sentiment toward Tyreek after a while, and he's been just fine at training camp, and actually having a great training camp. And he's as good as there is at his position in the NFL. I think he's going to be well received at Arrowhead Stadium, and not so much when they go on the road. I think he understands that when he goes on the road, that nobody on the road's interested in the nuances of a story. All they know are the headlines that they read months ago, and I think he's going to hear it, at least for a while anyway. But I tell you what, he's a Kansas City Chief in good standing. He's in line for a big contract. That's going to happen, I'm pretty sure, this year. And I just hope he can go forward with peace of mind. And I think if he stays away from the woman in the relationship, that'll be able to happen.
Result of a trade with the Browns, Kansas City ends up, and I know they feel good about their defense. They've got a new defensive coordinator and feel like they've got a lot of good pieces on that side of the ball, but they end up with Emmanuel Ogbah. How's he done in camp?
He's done well. He's been taking reps with the first team at times. Today he is not. He's been in and out. He hasn't practiced every single day, just like most players up here, which is the case. But he's safely on the team, and he'll be part of the defensive end rotation in a new 4-3 defense that's been installed by the new defensive coordinator, Steve Spagnuolo. And it's funny when at times on the field you'll have Ogbah and Alex Okafor, the old Texas defensive lineman, running on opposite sides of the defensive line. So it's they also have Frank Clark in that rotation, who they acquired from the Seahawks in the offseason. They're really excited about, and then Tano Passanio, former second-round draft pick, who's really caught the fancy of the defensive coaches here. So those 4 are going to be your defensive end rotation, and the Chiefs think it's a big upgrade over what they had a year ago, which in a 3-4, it's certainly a different alignment, but Justin Houston and Dee Ford were those guys, and they put up some nice numbers, but they weren't very consistent, and that led to the Chiefs being ranked 31st in the NFL in total defense last year. I think if the Chiefs were just halfway decent on defense, they would have found a way to beat the Patriots and would have been in the Super Bowl. So that's sort of the objective this year, to go from 31st to the middle of the pack and kind of leave no doubt who the best team in the AFC is.
Yeah, and I've got to. We wind it up with the Chiefs. I know we're not going to leave much time to talk college, but I got to ask about Darwin because he's special with our family. I know that he set a lot of records and was an All American with Zach calling plays and yeah, he's one of the toughest kids I know. Zach says he's ever been around, and off to a great start. I would say after that first exhibition, he probably gonna make the team now.
Yeah, he's going to make the team. There's not a media opportunity goes by where a coach, either the offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy, the old Colorado running back, or his position coach, Elon McCullough, doesn't sing Darwin's. I'm glad I talked to you today because we've been calling him Darwin. It's Darwin, huh?
Yeah.
So been singing his praises, and he really is a tough-nosed, fast back. Here's a guy who's his size, which is I think they're listing him at 5'10". He ain't 5'10", and 190, but he's great in pass protection. Here he has been great in pass protection, circling out of the backfield to catch a ball. He scored his touchdown last weekend on a play like that, and just running hard. He is he's going to make this team. He's a favorite of this coaching staff and of the fans and of the for what it's worth of the media. He's such a humble kid, and he's just a joy to talk to.
Yeah, he nobody wanted him out of Jinx, and
that's amazing.
And it worked out well. Yeah, it worked out. And you know what, Matt Wells, who's at Texas Tech now.
Yeah,
I've talked to Matt about him, and just in that 1 year, Matt said, I mean, he was tremendous for us. So he's one of those guys you'll never get less than his best. All right, real quickly, I know you keep tabs on the college. Kind of the word I hear at K-State is it's refreshing because it's open, and there have even been practices the media goes to, and then at Kansas, I don't know. I just know it's less, and Les kind of had a little bit of a struggle, I thought, at Big 12 Media Days. But your thoughts on the two schools down there?
Well, you've
up there
them up pretty well. With K-State, it is more open than it's ever been. The poor media that covers Kansas State football, they're all depressed because they have to go cover it now. I mean, they've got to go to practices and all these media opportunities that never existed when Bill Snyder was the coach. But it's been great to see the coverage and to get to know the players in a way that just didn't happen until after they finished at Kansas State because of the media policies there. But we'll see. I think it's there was a reason that K-State was picked ninth, and I think that's a good kind of an accurate portrayal of the perception. They do have the quarterback back, Skylar Thompson, who I think is a nice player and has a lot of experience. And
Blair, he's a cowboy killer.
There he is.
Skylar
That's right.
Thompson is a cowboy killer.
Yes, he is. Exactly. So I think maybe they can scratch out maybe a win or two more than expected and get back to bowl eligibility this year. As for Kansas, big mystery, just a big mystery. The anticipation is things will be better. They're absolutely recruiting better. They just got a commitment from a 4-star kid in Dallas that they're pretty excited about, and that just didn't happen under previous regimes since Mark Mangino. So in the areas in which you can sort of measure or judge Les Miles right now, he's doing well, but they've got to win games, and they have these. It's been a lost decade of Kansas football, as bad as it's ever been at that school, and they've had some bad football historically. So we'll see. I think a Kansas fan just wants to see him be competitive, not get blown out by the upper half of the Big 12, which has been sort of a regular occurrence with the Jayhawks.
Well, Blair, we appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your stay at training camp, and the Chiefs break training camp with a trip, I guess, Saturday to Pittsburgh, and that'll be a fun preseason game to watch, at least for people down here, because you've got a lot of Oklahoma interests on the Chiefs, and obviously Mason Rudolph and James Washington playing there for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So you'll have a lot of Oklahoma eyes on that, or Oklahoma State eyes for sure on that game on Saturday.
For sure, I know they're expecting a lot out of James Washington up in Steeler country this year. I've read a lot of good things about his training camp. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him and Mason Rudolph. And you're right, a lot of Cowboys in this game.
Yeah. Hey, Blair, appreciate it, especially coming on short notice. And thanks so much, and take care of yourself. Have a great football season.
Yeah, you too, Robert. Good talking to you.
All right, Blair Kerkhoff from the Kansas City Star does an outstanding job, and a veteran scribe. I like that term, scribe.